Hello, hello, hello to another episode of Ray and Nev, minus Ray, but plus Luis,
AKA Lulu.
aka Lulu. So this episode, Ray actually wasn't able to make it. Today is his daughter's birthday.
Daughter's birthday.
Okay. How old is she?
15 years old.
Yeah. So
happy birthday, Meridiana.
Happy birthday. All right. So this episode, since Ray isn't on here, it's gonna be a shorter episode, less talking, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it is. It's gonna be a way short. Nobody's gonna fall asleep this time.
That's funny. Luis, you guys probably have seen Luis a few times on this episode. This is his third time being here.
Yes, my third time. Third time's a charm. You know how that goes.
Always great to see you here.
Thank you.
So this episode is going to be actually really kind of a quick one. We're just going to talk about what to expect as a new home buyer, first time home buyer.
As a first-time home buyer? Okay.
We're going to go over some of the questions that we get commonly from first-time home buyers, and we're just going to go over kind of like how we either answer them or the answers that you should be looking for.
Okay.
All right. So what's the first, most common question that you have for a first-time home buyer or from a first-time home buyer?
I want to buy a home. That's the first thing they tell me. I want to buy a home.
And what's the next thing after that? What do I do? How do I do it?
What? Yeah. How do I buy a home?
Yeah. So how do you answer that question?
Well, I'll ask. To get them started, you get them pre-approved by sending them with a lender.
Yep.
To work with them.
Exactly. So basically, first question we both always get is like, I want to buy a home. What do I do now? And really, the first thing that you want to do when you're buying a home is to speak with a lender. The reason you want to speak with a lender is because that's the person who's actually going to tell you exactly how much home you can purchase, how much money the bank is going to lend you to purchase your house. Mm-hmm. And without knowing that information, we're just kind of looking all over the place. We really don't know where the starting point is. So we always want to start there. What's the next thing after they do get their pre-approval?
Once they get their pre-approval, you're gonna sit down. You're gonna sit down with the buyer, and you're gonna, what's their plan? What's their purpose? You're gonna get their plan. What how many bedrooms they want, how many bathrooms, if they want a pool, the area they want to be at. You want to get a feel what they want.
Exactly. So you kind of want to figure out why they even want to buy a house, right?
Correct.
And then after you find the reason, some people, they might be relocating. They're just moving to Florida, or maybe they're just tired of renting, tired of paying someone else's mortgage, and now they're ready to pay their own, right?
Right.
So find out why they want to buy, because a lot of the times if we're having a baby, so now we know you need more room.
More room.
Or we might have twins now. We're in a 2-bedroom, so now you need a 3-bedroom. Mm-hmm. Things like that. And then you want an office for your house because a lot of people are working from home. So now you might need a 4-bedroom.
Correct.
It might be someone retiring. We need a smaller house. So finding out the reason why they're buying a home is always super key. And then after that is finding out what exactly are they looking for in a home besides just the bedroom count or square footage. Correct. What's important to them, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, great. See, a lot of times I feel like with first-time home buyers, they get a little bit too nervous in the beginning, and they don't know where to start. What's the jumping point, right?
Correct.
And really, it's really just contacting a realtor, and they're gonna always walk you. A good realtor is gonna walk you through the process, beginning to end, because realistically, our job isn't done until you're in the home. So we can't give you the answers from beginning to end. We're kind of lacking in our own field.
Yep. Always stick to the details. It's more important.
Exactly. Yep. We're here to cover the details.
Exactly.
So after you find out exactly how much they got approved for, why they're selling, what they're looking for, what's next?
You do the home search. Go out and do a home search.
Okay.
And typically the first day you want to show them a few properties. And you go look for the best ones. Mm-hmm. And at least you give them options and you tell them to pick. Get that offer. Get the offer created.
Well, before we get to the offer, actually, I want to rewind a little bit. So we mentioned what they're looking for. We have to always remember where they're looking. Location. If it's for a new job, obviously they don't want to live 40 miles away from their new job.
Correct.
Even if the prices are better 40 miles away. But going to where, and then once you find out where they want to be is when you start the house hunting.
Right.
That's when you start showing houses and you're looking in and you're actually getting a feel for if everything I wanted on my list makes sense combined.
Correct.
Because
You kind of
go ahead.
Yeah, you kind of want to hit the bucket list of what they wants and needs, especially if you're familiar with the area.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely want to get them into that, into the right place.
Yep, exactly. And realistically speaking, like everybody has their dream home in their head, right? Exactly everything they want on the list.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever seen everything you want in one house, but from my experience, usually when you get a lot of the things you want in one house, you realize combined, this really doesn't work too well. This layout doesn't make sense.
It happens. You get overwhelmed.
It really does happen. It's been countless amount of times someone tells me exactly what they want and I actually find the perfect house and we get there, it doesn't make sense. And something that I always like to do is like, hey, let's go look at one more house, right? We look at one more house that really didn't fit anything on their list.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times that's it.
That's how it is. Huh?
That's really how it is. I've had people tell me they don't want to live in this part of the city. They don't want to go that far. Then when we look at that one house, that's their house.
That's it.
Or even some people
changes.
telling me they want, big windows are important. Huge windows are important. And we get there, it's like it just doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel right. It's not my fit.
Yep. A lot of times the house hunting, I don't believe there's no such thing as a perfect house,
mm-hmm.
but I feel like it's the right house for me. So you're finding the right house for you,
right, as
the buyer, the one that when you walk in there, you feel like you could continuously walk in this house and it feels like home. That's the most important thing.
Correct.
Exactly. So after we do pick the right house, now what?
Now you create an offer.
Exactly.
You create that offer. You make a good, strong offer. The agent will speak to the other agent, let them know that I have a buyer that's really motivated to get him the home. And then, once the offer is accepted, you go through the inspection period first.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So after we found the right home is when we write the offer.
Right.
So how come I couldn't go look at homes before I got my pre-approval? Why couldn't we start at the house hunting?
Because you would need all that already together and prepared because when you create an offer, you want a pre-approval, proof of funds to be sent out as part of the contract, as part of the offer as well.
And it's not even something that you want or that's something that we want. That's something that's actually required from the sellers themselves.
Correct.
They need to know that you can buy it, and the only way to prove that is either you have a pre-approval from a lender or you have a proof of funds that you could buy it cash, and you get the proof of funds from the bank.
Yep.
Because taking an offer without either of those two things is kind of like, I hope they can buy it. And if we look at the house, see the great house that's right for you, and then we decide to speak with the lender, what do you think is going to happen in this market where houses are flying off the shelf left and right every day?
Oh, yeah. It's either what, cash is always king. And if, things can happen, the office can fall at the same time.
No, I'm saying if you try to get your pre-approval after you see the perfect house for you.
Gotcha. So you go through the inspection?
No, I'm saying so. We're jumping ahead.
Yes,
So
we are.
So if we went and seen the perfect house, and then now we want to go try and get the pre-approval after you went house hunting, it might take anywhere between 2 days to a week to get that pre-approval, and by that time, correct, the house already has an offer from somebody else that was already prepared to put in their offer. So that's why we want to always get a pre-approval first, as our job is always to prepare the client to be able to get the home that they want. We want to put you in the very best situation possible for every step of the house buying process.
Correct.
And then so we submit this offer, we get our offer accepted.
Mm-hmm.
Now what do?
Then now we go through an inspection. We call the inspections.
Exactly.
To go through the inspection period.
How soon do we get the inspector out?
You go within that same the next day you call.
Yep.
When the day the offer is executed, you call the inspection.
Exactly. So everybody, when you're buying a house, everybody asks the same thing. How do I know this isn't broken? How do I know there isn't something wrong with plumbing? How do I know the house isn't going to fall apart? We get the home inspection. The home inspector, they're going to make sure that the plumbing has adequate plumbing. And when I say adequate, it doesn't have the things that you don't want, as far as nobody wants cast iron pipes. Nobody wants polybutylene pipes. Both of them are known for failures. So We make sure it doesn't have that. We make sure that the electrical is good, that we don't have cloth wiring or aluminum wiring. Those are causes for fires, house fires. Make sure the electrical panel is something that's up to code. And generally just make sure things work in the house as far as your AC, the roof isn't leaking, appliances, things like that. We're making sure that we're not selling you, I guess the best word I could think of is a lemon.
Yeah.
Unless you're looking for a lemon, because investors, that's what they look for. The very worst house in the neighborhood. So
very sour.
They're fine if all that stuff is broken, but we know as a first time home buyer, you're gonna move into the house. You want something that you don't have to spend your first year just doing a bunch of repairs on something that just might not have been a good home, So we want to get that inspector out as soon as possible. Ideally, we get them out the very next day. I've had inspectors the same day. We put something on the contract that morning.
That'd be awesome.
Get an inspector out midday that day, Try to get that out the way as quickly as possible to find out. We don't want to waste time sitting on a house that's no good.
Correct.
So after the inspection comes back, it might, it had maybe one thing wrong with it. The sellers decide to fix it. Now, me as a buyer, now what do? I can move into my house?
No, not yet. Not yet. The next step will be the appraisal.
Okay.
You want to get the house appraised to see what the value of the home is.
Okay. So what about the price that I just offered to pay? That's not the value of the home?
That's your purchase price. That's what you're offering.
So
the appraisal is going to come out and actually give you the true value of the home.
Oh,
what the price is worth.
Okay, so they come out and just make sure that it's the actual market value.
Correct.
Okay, correct. That makes sense. So say the appraiser comes out and the house appraises for less than what I'm paying for it. Do I get to keep that difference if the bank's going to give me all that money?
So that situation, then that's where the sellers have to make up their mind if they agree on that price.
So the sellers will have to agree of lowering the price.
They have to they're gonna get that report sent out to them, and if they come out low, then that's where your house is appraised at. Okay. So
if it appraises low, then what happens? The sellers have to come down on price?
I would most likely, they would have to come in agreement to come at that price.
So what happens if the sellers don't? I've been hearing, well, we both know a lot of times in this market, the sellers aren't going to go, they don't want to go down on price.
Right.
So what's the other option?
Just working out, negotiating on the pricing, working out on the deal.
So we actually have a guest walking by here. She doesn't want to get on the screen, but we're gonna say bye.
Hey.
But exactly. So the appraisal comes in low. Our options are either the seller is gonna have to lower their price, or the buyer is gonna have to pay the difference. The bank is only gonna pay up to the appraised amount.
Correct.
So if it comes in at $200,000, but you were offering $250,000, and the sellers don't want to go down to $200,000, the banks are only going to pay that $200,000. So the $50,000 kind of has to come from the buyer's pocket. Now, it's also up to the real estate agents to try to negotiate with the listing agent as much as possible to see if we can kind of either meet in the middle or kind of bridge the gap. Right?
Right.
But it's also a case by case, because we can't force sellers to sell their home for less than what they want. Whatever they want is what they want.
Pretty much in this market, people are buying anything right now. So
people are buying a lot. A lot of
right
things.
now.
A lot of people are paying over appraised price right now. But it's also because there's not a lot of houses on the market. You don't have a lot of choices.
Correct.
You kind of have to act fast, but also it's still up to your real estate agent to try to negotiate that to bridge the gap. So say we bridge the gap. I agreed to pay maybe $5,000 over the appraised amount. Now do I get to move into the house?
Got that. Everybody agreed on that price. We go through the period. We go through the closing.
Well, we go through what period? I want to move into the house. I just agree.
Then we prepare the closing. You'll get the closing statement coming out, the alta statement.
So I can close tomorrow.
So you'd be able to. It's what you put on your. It's based on what you put on your contract on the offer.
So I can't close tomorrow. So after the appraisal comes in and we agree to bridge that gap, I wish you guys can close it the very next day, but unfortunately just can't because title has to do their job now.
Correct.
And title was already doing their job, but now is when you start getting actual answers of what they were doing. We're going to do a lien search. Make sure there's no liens on the house because you buying a house with another lien on it is not putting you in a great situation.
Yeah.
So title, make sure there's no liens. Title, they're going to order a survey to make sure that the land that they tell you that you're going to be owning is correct per the county. So they do a survey to measure that to make sure it's correct. Yep. And then they're also going to make sure the taxes are paid up to date, and also the HOA is paid up to date. Title is going to do all of that because, again, you don't want to have to take in somebody else's bills.
Right. Yeah, just making sure that property is clear for you to move in.
Exactly. It's free and clear for you to own it once you pay off the mortgage. After the title does their jobs, their lien searches, their surveys, that's when we start to that's when we kind of move on past to the lender. Now we're waiting on the lender once title is done.
Correct.
So titles did their job. By this time, we're hypothetically somewhere around like 3 weeks in, right? We already did appraisal. Title's done their job. Now, can I move in? No.
Not yet.
Not yet, because the lender still has to finalize your loan. Your loan has been in underwriting since you did your loan application. You submitted all the documents and it goes into underwriting to make sure all the documents are correct. And that's what the lender is doing in the background for you. You're sending it to the underwriter, and the underwriter is going to make sure that everything in your file is correct. So they are not going to put you in a bad loan. And a bad loan is a loan that is one you can't afford. So, and that's what the underwriter's job is, to make sure that they're not putting you in a bad loan. So now we're at week 3, underwriter looking through everything, make sure everything is good. You might get an approval with conditions. Conditions usually means we need one more document. We might need bank statements. It's not like a huge thing. It's just, we might need just one more bank statement just to confirm the amount that you have in the bank to close. It's after that, once you have underwriting and it says clear to close, now then what?
Clear to close, now you sign.
Now I can move into the house.
You move into your house. You
now,
sign.
That's what we've been waiting for.
And there you be able to get your keys and move in.
That's what we've been waiting for. Now we can move into the house. Once we get the clear to close, now we can schedule a closing and we can actually go to the title company. We sign off all the documents. It's how many pages is that?
Oh, they're getting bigger and bigger every moment now. Every year they're getting bigger and bigger.
You sign maybe like 50 plus pages of paperwork. All of it is getting recorded by the county. And then you get your keys to your new house and you get to move in. From beginning to end.
Me, barbecue.
Exactly.
Awesome.
This guy, he wants to get invited. Barbecue, baby showers, everything. But from beginning to end, from the time you first contacted one of us to find out what's the next thing you need to do to you closing, that generally takes, how many days would you say? I'm thinking 45.
Yeah, up to 45.
Yeah.
Close to, 45.
45, 60 days.
Yeah, that's
the first 30 to 15 to 30 days are actually you shopping for the house, looking for the right house. And once you put in an offer, let's call it another 30 days from your offer getting accepted to you closing, which is you signing off and getting your keys.
That's up to 45. Yeah. Between 45, 60 days, right.
So in 60 days, you can go from renting a house to owning a house.
Owning a home.
And the key person in this to make sure that this goes through smoothly is having a knowledgeable realtor that understands the process, knows what expectations are, and letting you know the expectations as well. And then you know what's coming next, what's the next step. So you're comfortable in this. And I promise you it's going to make this process feel as simple as it really is.
A lot easier.
Because it is a simple process. Buying a home is not a difficult thing. And that's something I always want to stress with first-time home buyers. Buying a home is not a difficult thing. It's something enjoyable. It's something to be proud of, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything that you think I left out as far as the home buying process?
As far as the buying process, no, I think we covered every process.
Okay. You sure nothing?
No. I even covered the party and the barbecue in my side, so we good.
Exactly. The party and the barbecue is the most important part to this guy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be hurt if I don't get invited to a barbecue. Let me get home warming something.
Invited.
Yeah. I've been invited to a few of them.
Yeah.
I remember my first one that I got invited to. Best ribs ever.
Oh, the ribs.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. He first day in the house, he smoked some ribs. It was like six hours of him just smoking ribs.
I remember my first deal. The family's from El Salvador,
Mm-hmm.
and so they call it. My first dinner with them was they call it pupusa.
Okay.
And it's very good stuff. It's like a lot of meat
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of like tortilla, fried tortilla type style, and you eat it. You mix it up with your meat. It's really good.
Okay.
Really good style. I love that culture.
Oh man.
Pupusa.
I hope I meet some El Salvadorians soon
Yeah.
so I can get that.
Very good stuff.
But that's basically the entire process. If you guys feel like we've went a little bit too fast, or if you feel like we left anything out, or if you need details on any part of it, just leave a question down in the comments. We're gonna reach out to you guys, get them answered. We might even do another video if it's large enough questions that we can do another video on.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome.
And we might have Luis back on for another episode.
I'll come back.
We might make this a permanent thing. We don't know yet. We might have to change the name.
Getting used to it.
I'll put my name first, Nev and Lou.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna have to take the Ray out. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.
Peace out.